Okay, today we're going to start talking about cell phone and making wireless websites. And there's a lot of different factors that need to go into when you're designing a cell phone website. Mostly the size, and you kind of got two flavors of websites for for a smaller size screen, like the like an iPhone or the Android phone or even the iPad and things like that. There's two types of designs that we could go into here. One of them would be to make a cell phone website. And what I mean by that is to make one that's kind of a separate website. Like the Zircon site that I made over the summer has a redirect. And what I mean by that is somebody comes to the zircon.com, and if you've probably seen it before, my main site here. Let's get to the main site here. If I can go there. Zircon.com. If you go there, you'll see I have a kind of a big website, and it's kind of a fixed site. And so with this website, what I've done is I put some code in there. If we look at the code here in the page source, and there's a redirect right here. So that it says redirect to zircon.com M if they come from an Android or BlackBerry or Mini or Windows or iPod or iPad or iPhone. And it detects to see, it detects. Now, I'm using it just using some JavaScript. There's a whole bunch of different ways. I'm going to show you some other ways that you can do it. I'm just using this because it was easy for me to get started with. So again, if somebody comes to this site with a computer, they'll get this web page. Okay? If they come with a cell phone device, it will automatically direct them to this mobile one. So I've actually made two separate websites for this. For this company, and as you can see, if it's small, it would probably look like this. Okay, if it's big, and they can always get to the corporate site from here. If they click on that, it'll take them to the big one. But again, it doesn't fit on the screen. They would have to probably zoom in and things like that. Now that's one way of doing it. Make two separate websites, one for a cell phone, one for a desktop, and then have a redirect and give them the choice. The other one, of course, is kind of a new way that people are designing websites, the responsive design, and that's to make a design that actually morphs and changes the content of the site according to what size the screen is. So if we look at this one right here, this is an example of one. You'll see as I make the window smaller, the content starts to adjust and change. Okay, you see the text changing size, some of the windows, the graphic is scaling smaller. Okay, and so if somebody comes from a cell phone site, most likely it would probably look like this. Okay, and you'll see it kind of morphs the site. So this is what we'll call a responsive design. So it's a little bit different kind of technique than than having to have a redirect that goes from one website specifically for a cell phone and then another website for a desktop. This is more of a responsive design, and it's up to you which way you want to go. This is more of the newer way of doing it. The older way is kind of the redirect that I showed you first. In this case, the difference between the two also is the if we look at the source of this one using the responsive design technique, if we look at the source for this one, you'll notice what they're doing is the website adjusts itself according to the size of the screen. Okay, and they have different CSS files. Okay, so different programming for the different size of the screen. And so they have a bunch of CSS and links here according to the screen size, and then it adjusts itself according to that. So that's one technique and one way to go. Either way, you're going to have to learn how to do it. I'm going to show you mostly in this next couple lessons here how to make the cell phone version here, the one that we have right here using JavaScript and jQuery. Okay, this is quite easy way of doing this. So I'll go over that. When we get to that part in a moment. One of the things you need to consider when we are designing a cell phone site. Oh, here's another sample of the responsive design. You'll see a nice layout. If somebody comes with a computer, it would look like this. If somebody comes from a cell phone, it most likely would be like this. Some comes from an iPad, it would probably be in between something like that or something like that. Probably. And you can have detection in the programming to send it to that. Probably look like this on the iPad. And this is a really nice sample here, and I'll link that up for you to look at on your own when we get to that. The sample that we're going to do, and before we start, let's look at some more mobile sites. Probably one of the easiest ways to look at mobile sites is that most companies will put their mobile site in a subdirectory on their main directory. So what a subdirectory is a sort of another web page that is on the same server, or maybe not the same server, but on the same domain name. And if we look, let's look at Yahoo right here for a moment. If we look at www.yahoo.com, that's the main website for Yahoo. But if we take off the www at the beginning here and just put an M in front, so it's m.yahoo.com, what that'll do is that'll get you to the mobile version of the Yahoo website. And if I click on that, you can actually see it. And so when somebody goes to the Yahoo website with a mobile device, they actually use a redirect. So it's not a responsive design like you saw in this sample behind here. It's more of they'll redirect you to a specific smaller version, kind of like what I did with the Zircon site, where you have a smaller version that's specifically designed for the mobile device. Okay, and you can do that with almost any company. Most of them use that M dot there. I think Macy's. I was looking at Macy's before. Macy's, is it with an S? Hopefully, Macy's. There we go. And of course, they got the whole Black Friday thing going here. And so you'll see if somebody comes from a cell phone, you'll see they have these little arrows and things. So it'd be good for you to look through and try some of the samples and clicking around and see. This is all done with basic HTML5 and jQuery, HTML5, jQuery, and CSS3. So the techniques behind this would be the jQuery and CSS5 or CSS3 and HTML5. Now, one of the things and challenges you as a designer need to consider is what you include onto the cell phone site. Usually what I do is I have a streamlined version which would have less content because, of course, you don't have as much real estate. So you'll see even with the Macy's ones, they have just really simple links to the clothing or shoes in this case, and then they have a click to buy. So it's a very simple layout compared to maybe on the website, on the corporate site, the main website where they would probably have more information. So one of the challenges you have as a designer is what to include and what not to include. Do I have to include everything into the wireless site? I didn't include everything on the Zircon wireless site. There's a lot of things I left off. Just, I was making determination of what I think should be on the corporate site compared to the mobile site, and you'll see it's this very streamlined version of the website. Now, one of the things you'll notice is if you're using Firefox and things like that, it really doesn't give you all the kind of look. And I guess what I'm trying to say is as I'm going through this Zircon site here, I have some transitions that, if you ever looked at and tried a web page on a cell phone, it would actually do what we call a transition where it would wipe or fade or something like that. One of the problems with using a non-kind of browser like the Firefox is not a traditional browser for viewing on a cell phone. Like if you have an iPhone or an iPad, most likely you would be using the Safari browser, which is the default browser on any of those wireless devices. But an Android or any of the Google type of phones, they use Chrome. So one of the things you probably would want to do is download Chrome, and I've downloaded it, and I think it's open already. Let me see. Yeah, here it is. So I've downloaded Chrome. Oh, no, that's still there. Where's my Chrome here? There it is. I've downloaded Chrome on my Windows because I'm using a Windows computer right now. So, oh, jeez, why is it doing this to me? I'm using a Windows computer right now. And so on this Windows computer, it kind of, you want to test on Chrome because that is like a traditional browser. And if you look now, you'll see it looks a lot different on Chrome. If I I don't have any clicks. Let's try the Zircon site in Chrome. Here we go. Okay, so it looks kind of like the way it did in Firefox, but if you click on it, you'll see, oh, there's a transition. Oh, there's a transition that you weren't seeing inside of Firefox, and the reason why is because the Chrome is a true kind of a mobile browser. So if you want to see the things like the transitions that are happening and that's programmed, and I'll show you briefly how I program that. If you want to see those things again on Windows, you would probably want to have the Chrome browser, and then on Mac, I would have the Safari browser, and then you would see the full HTML or full transitions, which are CSS most likely, and JavaScript that are doing this right here. And then you can see it even links to a video demonstration, which goes to YouTube. So you can build out an entire website all for a cell phone device, and it's not that hard, and I'm going to demonstrate it a little bit. So as I'm building it and showing you that you don't really need to turn that in. All you need to do is maybe come up with a plan of what a cell phone site would look like. To do that, you can just put some basic content in and take a screen capture. So take a screen capture, which is print screen on the Windows keyboard, or Apple Shift or Command Shift 3 on the Mac, and then in Photoshop you can just make a simple screen capture here. So in Photoshop I say File New in this case. After I hit the print screen key on the keyboard on a Mac or on Windows, I'm saying, and then hit Control V to paste in there, and then I can just crop to my sides here. I don't like this new crop tool inside of Photoshop. It's evil. I don't even know how to turn this off. Is there a way to turn this off? I can't get this new crop tool to work properly. I don't know what this is doing. Can I put 0 in for this? Oh. Here we go. Nope. Still going to be constrained here. Can I get rid of this? It's just... Let's remove. No? Again, I'm struggling with the crop tool inside of Photoshop because it's a new crop tool I'm not used to. But if you could somehow go back to a plain crop tool without having to be constrained here, then you could crop your piece here and hit enter, or hit this. I used to hit enter, hit the move tool right here, and boom, it'll crop it, and then you can have just your piece here, and you can save it as a PNG and send somebody that sample, or even send it to me, and then you can show me that you've planned for a cell phone site. So that's sort of one way that you can go about showing somebody how to do that. Some of the other things while I'm in Photoshop here that you might want to consider doing when we're working on a cell phone site or any kind of wireless type devices, to understand the screen sizes. I had a chart here and I lost it. Let me pause this for a moment. I've been trying to find a chart to show you the different screen sizes of a cell phone, but boy, there is really none out there that I can find using Google Images. So in this case, just keep in mind that the cell phone is small. So, if you're in Photoshop and you're working, this one, of course, is the banner that I have on my Zircon page. And if we look at what it looks like, it fits almost the entire screen of the iPhone here. So, in that image inside of Photoshop is around 200 and some pixels, 200 and almost 300 pixels wide by 55 pixels high. So that almost fills the entire screen of the at least the iPhone. The sample I'm going to be doing is working with this digital media. I'm going to be making one for so I'll do a little sample using my digital media website. So here's my logo inside of Photoshop, and right now it's a little bit big, but using the actual programming, I'll shrink it down using the jQuery and things like that. So again, some of the things you might want to do before you get started trying to make a cell phone site is make sure you get the artwork together. If you're going to use photos and things like that, if you look at my sample that I have already, this one, the pictures. I've made special pictures of the product that were a little bit smaller. I shrunk down the size of the demonstration pictures to a smaller size so that they would fit onto the screen here. And so any of the graphics and things like that I made specifically for a cell phone device. So that's some of the things I would prepare ahead of time. And let me pause this movie now, and we'll get into actually building one using the jQuery techniques.